Go.
Welcome. Go. Welcome to the Cucumber New Contributors Ensemble. I'm Blaise Pabon here in Franklin, Massachusetts, and I'm joined by guests. Let's see, Matt Wynn in Gathertown and James also in Gathertown. This is a special edition. We're going live from the floor of the Cucanfest space. Something.
Cucan
Anyway, why are we here?
space.
Cucan space. That's right. Why are we here? In 2017, GitHub surveyed over 10,000 open source contributors, and just 3% of them were women. So we believe that our open source communities will be stronger, more vibrant, and more effective if there are a more balanced representation of all the wonderful people in the world. Open source can provide huge benefits to people who participate, and we want those benefits to be available to all. But people need a place to start. So we hold this session each week for anyone who is new to contributing to open source, especially for people from groups who've historically been underrepresented in open source communities. Our goal is to provide a fun and welcoming environment where everyone can learn why and how to contribute to open source. We use an ensemble programming format for these sessions, which means everyone who wants to gets to take a turn at the keyboard. As we do that, we follow these principles: safety over comfort. We aim for an environment where everyone can bring their whole self and express their needs fully, even if that isn't always comfortable for us to talk about. Equity over efficiency. While it might seem faster to have the most experienced people do the work, we're here to give space to people who've traditionally been excluded from open source. Exploration over perfection. We are here to learn and always discovering better ways to do things. We embrace experimentation and that we uh, accept that what we do can never be perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, shall we get to work?
Yeah. Well, should we? So, should we show people a little bit of Gathertown? What we've been doing here. This is
Show
the
them around the
space where
room.
we've been having the Cucan Fest conference for the last couple of days.
I can
Uh,
do a little dance, maybe.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, so this is the Gathertown environment where we've been having the Cucan space, online open space. We've got the main circle here, where we've got a mic in the middle, so if you go and stand in the middle there, everyone can hear you. There's anybody left in the space anymore because the event's over for the day. We've been doing an open space over 3 days, and 1 day left tomorrow. How's it been for you two?
Excellent. I really enjoyed the different conversations and meeting people. And Gathertown to me is just a more natural environment for online gatherings. So it's great for Kuchenfest. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
I've enjoyed it thoroughly as well. It's the largest Gathertown event that I've been to, and I've met some wonderful people, including some who I had only ever met via text, I suppose. Um, yeah, it's great. Let's give them a show around Gathertown. I love the physical metaphor because it helps organize. It provides me with mnemonics to remember where things are and how to,
Yeah,
what to do next.
yeah, it's amazing how well that works, isn't
I
it?
think we can follow you. Move, follow. I'm going to say follow Blaise.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
me?
Then I will always, if you just click on him,
Yeah.
then yeah, so you lead the way, you be the tour guide.
Well,
Let's go
so
pick up a dog.
I think I will pick up a dog. Yeah. Um, I'm going to load him up with some pets, and you don't have to spend
If you
all
want
of your
stickers,
time.
go. Do you want stickers, Blaise?
Oh, how do I get stickers?
There's stickers. If you go back to where the dogs are behind the desk, if you go there, you can get stickers.
Oh, you mean over here?
Yep.
Oh,
So
I
I
don't tell
can't see
anybody.
what you're
It's a
seeing, but
secret.
that opens up a little form, doesn't it, where you can
Okay.
put your
Yep.
name and address in.
Your kiosks were if I hit this, it displays the law of 2 feet. We can go out. Earlier, there were a bunch of people enjoying the sights and the water, but I think everyone's gone now. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. It's only that guy that was away from his tablet.
Shall we get a room? There are some conference rooms over here.
Let's go to the music room. You can actually play the piano.
Oh, well, that would be wonderful if I knew how to play the piano. Oops, I'm sorry. I
You
think I
don't know
went.
how to play the piano and you're a programmer?
I know, right?
Do you
You
know
know, it's
that
funny.
you will be a much better programmer if you were a musician?
Well, it turns
Because
out
it's
that
mathematics. It's the same thing.
it's much more than that. There's no better training for software development than music education. But unfortunately, in the U.S., they don't understand that, and so uh, typically
Or maybe just you don't understand it. Because I know some Americans that do understand it.
oh yeah. I mean, in general, like in public school districts, they don't often include it, music
Yes.
education.
So
Here,
very
why
few.
don't you play something on the piano?
So I don't know how this is going to work because I'm sharing my screen. I guess, do I need to X up onto it as well? Because do we all...
Maybe. It was just, oh no. Press the X to interact.
Oh my God, I hit X and it's something. Oh, this is the agenda. Okay, I don't need that.
Yeah. And you can play drums and everything. It's pretty cool.
Can you play it on your... Oh yeah, you can.
You can play duet.
You can play it on your keyboard.
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah.
I don't think we're very good.
And of course, if I leave the room, then I'll be out of earshot and you won't hear me.
Okay. We're really selling Galatown to everyone with our crazy drumming and piano playing.
Part of the
But it's been-
metaphor.
We stopped following you, apparently.
Oh,
Do you want to become our tour guide again?
oh, do I have to? Is that a choice? Oh, I see what happened. I think participants.
Oh, it's because it's in the room.
Oh, I see.
Let me sit down.
Okay.
I'm tired.
So, should we do some coding?
Yes, let's do some coding.
Because I think we're all in the code with me, aren't we? So,
We are.
I don't know if I can show that and your faces. I guess if I make gather smaller and go for the view, the expanded view, does that work? And then I can change that. Blaise wants to join, accepted. So I'll keep the little Gather Town window open on the stream.
Do you want to sit down, Matt? You
I'm
look very
fine.
uncomfortable there where you're standing.
So let's start dancing. I'm really happy where I am. Yeah. So What else do we need? Do we need a timer?
I've got a
Got a
timer.
timer? Yep.
I just need that. I need that
Hey.
window open.
But I set it up. Now it's gone.
No. It's funny it doesn't remember us
Don't worry.
week to week.
I think it remembers for a few days and then it forgets.
Yeah.
But I just set it up again. So it should be fine now.
Oh, great. So I've got Blaise, Matt, and Kate. So right now, apparently, I'm driving Blaise and you're telling me what to do. Blaise is mute.
So where were we? Can we maybe quickly just catch up? Because I
Yeah.
wasn't there last week.
If I show you...
I see the whip move to the next one.
If you
And I
follow me
read
into
through the
Sorry, Kate.
I read the retrospective notes and it said
Yeah.
something about draw an architecture diagram.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't do that
if
homework.
we're going to test,
Say again,
Okay.
Blaise. I didn't hear what Blaise said. It broke up for me. Kate, are you able to repeat what Blaise just said? Can you hear me okay?
hello?
I can hear you, but I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
didn't-
because you walked away.
All right.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
I
me?
missed what you said,
Yes.
Blaise.
Good.
Yes.
Oh, all I was saying is that if you run a test, the output of the test will give you a hint as to where we left off.
Oh, we want to do test whip, I guess, don't we?
Yes, that's right. And we do whip for the folks in the audience. We use the WIP tag to help us remember where we left off.
So many tasks to do. Ensure a user exists named Aslak. I guess that's what we need to do.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, so it's kind of funny. What do you think? Oh, well, actually, you're the driver.
Shall I start the timer? Are we ready to go? Or are we still doing explanation?
I guess so, sure, yeah.
I'll show you what we did, Kate, just briefly before I start the timer. We started to implement, if you come over here, how do I do that in Code with Me? Force all to follow you? Oh, I don't like the word force.
I'm following you.
Yeah, so if you see here, Kate, in the fake GitHub class, which is the thing that we're interacting with, it's standing between us and pretending to be GitHub. We've implemented get members of, so we can see who is in a team, who are all the people in a team, and we've also implemented add user to team. We haven't needed to create users or create teams yet. We've sort of implicitly done it when we add a user to a team. We're just we create the team at that point and add them. So we've never needed to create users or create teams as things stand.
Should we get rid of those?
I'm not
I think
sure. Yeah,
it's almost
kind of feels
unlikely we'll need to do it because we're always working with existing users.
Yeah. Yeah, so we could maybe change the thing to say... So what does it say? So it actually says, given a user Aslak is part of the committers team. So then what do we do in the step for that? Given a user Aslak is a member of blah. Right, so we do create user, create team. So we could just get rid of those two calls, couldn't we, on 66 and 67? Yeah, should we do that? Let's simplify things, wouldn't it, for now?
I think so, yeah. And then we can do
All
a
right.
commit. And then we
I'll
can do a
start my
commit
turn.
indicating that... Well, rerun the test, I suppose.
I'll
We
start
run
my
the test
turn
and then do a
should we
commit.
make it 7-minute turns?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we'll do it for
Is that right?
No, I'll stop it because I think we've always found 5's a bit quick.
Yeah, 7 sounds good.
Okay, right, we're off. So I'm going to delete these two methods, and I should be able to hopefully do safe delete. Don't need to search for text occurrences.
Please
Oh,
wait.
one
Host
usage that
is
is not
working with a
safe to
safe
delete.
delete dialog.
That's a nice touch.
Oh, so it's only deleted the usages rather than deleting the method itself. Maybe if I go to the method itself and do refactor safe delete, it says it has one usage that is not safe to delete, so it doesn't
Oh,
delete it.
maybe.
Never mind.
Right.
It's done.
There you go.
So let's run it again. Cool.
Okay.
All right, it's a couple less to lose.
So the test saw we didn't break anything.
Nope. I guess I should run the main set of tests. We'll have some undefined ones, but nothing should fail, right?
Modified.
Now, do we also have to build do the dist, the npm build?
Only if
before
we
do
want to
the-
deploy.
Okay. All right.
I can do it just for consistency. But we've only changed this tests, so nothing should have changed in the production code anyway.
Oh, that's right.
But well done for remembering. So if I do a commit, it's remembering the co-authored by thing from last time, which is helpful. It's a shame it
That's
doesn't seem to give me a list of the people that are coding with me right now, though, which would be extra nice.
Oh, that would be nice.
So, Kate, I'm going to need a reminding of your email address.
Does VS Code do that?
It
No,
does.
I've closed it.
Yeah, I have a plugin for VS Code. Maybe there's a plugin for this that'll do it.
Let me send it to you. Oh, it is actually, if you go to the chat, just 3 messages up. But
Oh, your email address. Blaise, I've got
Yep.
yours. It's cool. You can't see my screen, can you?
Oh, that's right.
And,
I'm not
Screen
looking at
share.
the.
I suppose I could screen share. Watch out, it's going to grab your GatherTown window.
in Slack.
Oh, interesting. Brilliant. Oh, wow.
Sorry,
That's pretty
Kate. So
cool.
you've sent me your email address in Slack.
In Slack.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to commit. I guess I could have done push as well, couldn't I? Cool, that's done. Right, we've got 3 minutes left. What should we do next, Blaise?
The commit. Oh, you did the commit. You did the push. Let's
done.
see. So, did you do the push?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I think the next thing we want to do is if we run the test.
That's the test there. Can you see it?
Yeah, but did you run it with whip? So I guess we need to get a date.
Yes.
Oh no, we need to check the last commit. That's what we were trying to figure out. Is how to fake a commit with a date, right?
The thing is, to make this scenario's assertions be true for this scenario, we don't actually need to do anything with commits, because this is kind of like a no-op scenario, where we're just checking that if everything's in the right place, everybody stays in the same teams.
Shall we skip it altogether? No, we need to do something, don't we?
Well, I think what I'd probably like to do is add this assertion that Aslak is not in the alumni team. And then we've kind of finished off the assertions on this scenario. I think we're going to need to come back to it, but I think it would probably be good to triangulate it by adding the other scenario that's the opposite case, where the user, I think it's Greg, does get retired into the alumni team. And then we'll have to actually build some functionality into the into the main function, and we can leave both of these scenarios as whip, and we'll have a bit of triangulation between the two. Maybe that's what we could do right now. Actually, is just make the other scenario whip. Shall I do that, and then we can kind of see how that looks?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Now, if we run it, then we'll generate some feedback for that one. Right. Perfect.
So we haven't got a thing to check that Greg is in the alumni team, which is interesting because I thought that we have got one that checked that Aslak is in the committers team. So I wonder why that step doesn't work.
It says funding.
Steps.
Oh, is that the one where we're just returning a console.log? In other words,
Sure. Yeah, so how is that different? Oh, look, so we've got should be in and should still be in as two separate things when they're really just doing the same thing, aren't they?
yes, they are.
So what should we do about that?
We probably, can we do a refactor and remove still?
Yeah, like just remove the word still from the feature here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice the way it says that, but it's kind of a luxury. Here.
Actually, but I agree. Technically, it's exactly the same.
I think that's the end of my turn.
So now we should get the, okay, perfect.
So Greg is not in the alumni team. So now we've got something to do.
Session error.
Yes.
All right, I'm navigating and Kate, you're driving.
One failed. Oh, that's right. Greg is not, because he's nowhere, so he's not in either one. Okay. So I guess we need to now go and put Greg.
So Kate, are you ready to drive?
Greg could not be found in alumni. Is he in committers?
Users found none. Okay, so I mean we didn't see any at all. Okay, so we need to
in a way, it's interesting, isn't it, Kate? How you
have a team called alumni, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's right. We don't need to have a real team. We just need to return that we're doing one.
Yeah, and I think it's just saying that there's nobody in that team. Can you hear me?
Be in team.
You can't hear me, can you?
Get members of. The users dot includes team? No, oh no, I see. Teams dot includes. No, I can't. Oh, I can now.
Yeah, you couldn't though, could you? I think I just rebooted.
I see.
So we want to swap turns because it's my turn ended. But
yeah, we'll do that.
Which line are you on?
Me? Kate, we want to follow you now. You're going to drive. Can you press the thing in code with me that says... Oh, wait, I can do that. Kate, follow.
Yes, so which line are you talking about?
Well, so we know we've got...
Which line?
We know we've got a failure now because Greg hasn't been moved into the alumni team. Right?
Be careful. I might lead you astray.
Can you hear me, Kate?
Yes.
Yeah, you can hear me, Blaise, but Kate can't hear me, can she? Blaise, ask Kate if she can hear me.
Kate, can you hear me?
Yes.
Kate, you can. Matt, can you hear Matt?
Can you hear me, Kate?
Yes.
You can. Okay, good. Right.
Yes.
So
I
I'm
can. Can
Matt,
you
and
hear
I'm
me?
Yes, I'm Matt, and I'm navigating.
Okay. So
And you're
everybody
Kate.
can hear
You're
everybody.
Kate, and you're driving.
Yes.
Right. Let's go. So I think what we need to do is we need to actually modify the main function now to do some real logic, because this scenario that we just enabled, which is failing, is the one that actually wants the user to have been retired into the alumni team. So let's go into the src folder. Actually, no, let's go down to the step where we call it from. So when the action runs is on steps line 79. Let's go down to line 79 and work our way in from there. So can you see line 79, Kate, where we call, actually it's 81, where we call retire-inactive contributors. And one thing that function is missing right now is it doesn't have a pointer to the GitHub, our fake GitHub. So we need to have a GitHub here so that we can add the user to the alumni team. So we need to do a bunch of things, but let's imagine that we were passed in. So can you add to the arguments at the top an argument? So on line 1 in the parentheses at the top, after it says retire inactive contributors, let's add.
Strange things happening.
Are there? What, as you try and type?
Here?
No,
Yes.
inside the parentheses for the function, like here.
Yes, in between the yellow parentheses. Do you see where he's pointing now?
Who?
Kate.
Oh no, the parentheses are the ones that are shaped like this.
Can you go up here to the brackets after the function? We don't need that stuff.
No,
Unless,
just follow Matt.
I wonder if Kate's.
If you follow Matt, it will take
place.
you to his.
Yes.
Just here, we need to take in a GitHub, an argument called GitHub. So add a new argument between the parentheses called GitHub. That's
Perfect.
it. And you need to say colon and then what type this thing is.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to do here is define an interface. So
okay.
Let's call this GitHub with a capital G.
Nice.
Are you okay, Kate? You stopped on the G. Oh, there we go. It's come through. All right. So you can delete line 4 for now.
No, it should be there.
Yeah, it's there now. It just was a little bit laggy, that's all. And then we need to tell the compiler what that is. So on line 1, above the function, let's define that interface. So you say interface.
Yes.
Capital G GitHub equals, and then you use the curly braces. Shall I maybe type that bit out rather than just dictating code? That's just awkward, isn't it? Wow, it's really laggy for me now as well. Whoa.
Let me press save.
Oh,
Better.
on, bless you. Come on, IntelliJ. I've got IntelliJ beach balling on me.
Oh, I think it wants.
No, it's using significant energy, but they're all jammed up.
I can't hear you anymore.
I can hear you, Kate. Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can't hear Matt either.
I can
Now,
hear Blaise.
yes, I couldn't hear Matt either. And I
I'm
think
here.
no, I can't hear Matt either. I can see him.
It says IntelliJ is beach balling. The audio glitches on Gather are frustrating. Shall we switch to Zoom? Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. That sounds fine.
Funny, I just closed Zoom down and it's coming back. Oh, great, it's installing an update. What a day of things installing.
With for the code editing with all the
back.
graphics are just a bit too much.
Well, my IntelliJ is still beach balled. I'm going to quit it and come back, but it's going to kill your session for both of you. Can you hear me?
It's already done it.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can hear you
we can
fine.
hear
Yeah,
you.
no problem.
Okay.
It's saying waiting for host approval. So yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I think I'll have to create a new session probably. I wonder why it got stuck.
I think probably because Gather has got a lot of graphics and that has got a lot of syncing, and it's just too much to run
Maybe.
both.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that Zoom is pretty nice with. It's optimized for low bandwidth.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's too many buttons in Zoom for my liking. It's too kind of
Yeah,
configurable, but it works, doesn't it? It does its basic thing really effectively.
I don't like Zoom, but it is good for low bandwidth.
Mm. Yeah.
But none of the tools are perfect. They all have glitches. It's made by people after all.
Well, I don't know. I have
Okay, there's a link in the Zoom chat. Can you both access that?
some folks have figured out how to build reliable software. I mean, if you think about like Netflix, for example.
It is reliable. Have you tried searching for anything there?
Wasn't.
Because I have never, ever been able to find anything that I searched for. How they come up with the search suggestions, I've got no idea, because it's like it doesn't even have the name that I'm searching for in the title, and then it pops up there.
Oh, that's curious. I don't have that issue with search. I wonder if it has to do with the region.
Possibly, or maybe I just search for things. I'm
Well,
like
yeah.
naturally
All right.
talented at breaking software.
We don't. Oh, actually, I've let you know. I've. It turns out that I've let my Netflix expire because we're only watching Disney Plus these days.
Yeah, I must be honest, I'm not really a big TV fan. I'm happy with YouTube and
Are we
Coursera.
in? Are we back in?
I'm
Yes.
waiting for approval.
Oh, Blaise, I haven't seen your request.
Sorry.
Kate's in.
I'm in.
Can you ask again, Blaise?
Yes, yes. Hang on, just a moment.
Everything that I typed is gone. So I guess, Blaise, you are the driver, and I'm going to tell you, do everything that I did and what Matt told me to do, but this time do it right.
Is he in yet?
So 255. This is the one I just clicked on it.
The one that was sent in the chat now in Zoom.
Yes. Let me try this one other thing here.
That's it in Slack as well to you, Blaise.
Okay.
There we go. Should be in now.
Yes. Perfect.
And you're driving, so I'm going to follow you.
So basically, again, the GitHub define that, and everything that I typed is gone.
Okay, no problem.
Wow.
So you want me to do the
Yes. But who's...
So not quite, Blaise. The argument wants to have a lowercase g because it's just a
That's right.
parameter, and
That's
then
right.
the type of it wants to be capital G GitHub. Yeah.
And then
Then you've got to like define or use that GitHub.
Yeah, so we can define an interface,
The
Kate,
type.
with there's a keyword called interface. See the way we say function retire inactive contributors? You can do a pretty similar thing. We say interface GitHub. You probably want to do it outside the function though, Blaise. Yeah, and then use the curly braces. And then in there we can put some details about the methods that we expect to be on the GitHub interface. But we can add those as we use them. So what we need to think about is now we're going to kind of write like pseudocode but real code, Kate. What do we want to do in this function? What do we want to tell GitHub to do or ask of GitHub in order to actually move Greg, put Greg into the alumni team?
Well, we want to get the users and the last commit date and the team. So shouldn't we say like get something?
So we could write some comments here about what we want to do.
Sure.
Well, and we want to try and just think about what's the simplest thing that'll make this scenario pass, because we're doing TDD, so we can grow this thing to make it all encompassing and perfect later, but we don't want to just get a kind of a sketch in right now.
Does that sound about right? Return a team?
What did you say, Kate? We want to get the...
Well, the member, the user and the team and the last commit date, because I'm not sure how you will be able to do it without all three, or can you, Matt?
Well, so a very simple thing we could do, because we know the system for this test only needs to work with a user called Greg, is we could just simply say github.add user to team alumni Greg, because I think we've got a method called add user to team, have we? Yeah, we could call that GitHub add user to team, and we could just add Greg to the alumni team as a hard-coded call for now, and that would probably satisfy this scenario. So we could sort of start with that and then build out from there, because what we'll have is some logic that lists all of the Gregs based on what their commits are and all that stuff. But we could build out to that.
Okay.
But then you can actually do it, like this add or this world will.
So you've got the GitHub object that you've been passed in. So talk to GitHub, not this.
GitHub.
Talk to GitHub. It's not actually, you don't even need to do this. It's just GitHub because it's been passed into us. The little G, that's your reference to the GitHub.
New user Greg.
Oh, actually, well, it could just
Add user.
say members of team. And then
Well, if we want to put Greg into the alumni team so that the test passes, what method do we need to call on GitHub to do that?
We need to create an array or to give it a property, right?
We added a method to our fake GitHub, which we've already got a method on our fake GitHub. If you come and look over here where I am.
This one here?
I don't see where you are now.
Members of team?
Yes.
Well, that's going to query and tell you what the members of the team are, but what if you want to put Greg into the alumni team? What's the method you need to call there?
Well, if it were Python, I would create create a dictionary.
Come over and have a look at fake GitHub, because that's what we've already added this method on fake GitHub.
Okay.
Come over and have a look at fake GitHub in the steps file.
Oh, wait a second. Tests. This features. Where is fake GitHub?
It's in the steps.
Oh, I see.
So should we not just say team equals alumni and user equals Greg?
Yeah, that's a good start, because then we'd be able to factor that out later. Good idea, Kate.
Okay.
Well, that would be hard coded, but
That's okay.
isn't that what you said?
Time.
This?
We're out of time. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
faintly.
Zoom
Yes.
did something funny there.
Okay. So did you want me to say team new map?
So the turn's
timer
just
is up.
ended.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's now me typing.
Alright.
Matt is
I'll
the
try not to
driver.
think.
Perfect. You type. That sounds
I
great.
think that might be dangerous.
One thing I want to do is just change the capitalization of this, because we want to refer to the
Oh,
the
that's
parameter
right.
that we've been passed
Right,
in,
right.
right?
Sure.
And there's something I'm really itching to do that I think will kind of make all this a little bit clearer. if you can see the, but I don't know, Blaise, tell me what do you want us to do? Like, let's express what's
I
in
see.
your navigator's head. What do you
In
want
my,
us, what's your intent?
oh,
Navigator's
right,
intent.
right. I think, well, the navigator's intent is to create a dictionary like the one that Fake GitHub provides.
So let's step up a level though. Why do you want to create the fake dictionary? What are we trying to
Oh,
achieve?
right, right. We want to return a team with a member called Greg and a last commit date.
So we want a query to find out when Greg's
Yes.
last commits were.
Well, that's right. We want to find out when. Right. We want to find out when was Greg's last commit date.
So we could
I guess that's the
say
first
get
Yeah.
last commit
Oh, I see what
date
you're saying. Right.
of user Greg, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Shouldn't we also in interface GitHub add those parameters because it's fake? How would it know?
Well, we're gonna. The point here is that this could be the fake or the real GitHub because we're now in the
Right.
production system. So
Okay.
previously we were out in the tests, but now this is going to be the real GitHub, and the fake GitHub still has to do this too. But this is what we want of both the fake GitHub and the real GitHub, is that we can ask it for the last commit date of the user.
So I guess we need to do the same for the team and the user.
And the date. Yeah, and the user exactly.
Sorry. So what do you want me to do?
Oh,
Const
sorry.
team equals GitHub dot get team. I don't know how
GitHub
it's
dot
called.
get team name or get.
So what is the team name that we're looking for here?
Alumni.
Right.
No,
Well, why don't we just
isn't-
hard code that for now?
Okay.
Yes.
And I'll call that the alumni team, so we're really clear, because there might be other teams that we're dealing with in this function, I guess, because the user's going to be starting out in other teams, but we want to move them into the alumni team if their last commit date is. So
And the
do you want to
user
pull that
would
out into
be
a user
Greg.
as well? So should I
Yes.
make that user
Yes.
and go
Or okay.
like that, Kate? Is that what you wanted?
I was just gonna add a const for user equals Greg to define it hard coded.
There we go.
But this
Yeah.
is better, I guess.
Because actually we'll want to loop over all of the users, because we would need to also deal with ASLAC in the
Yes.
other scenario, don't we? So
Yes.
yeah. All right. So now we'll have his last commit date. Now what do we do with it?
Now we need to do a calculation to see how old it is. So the age to see, and then
how
determine
do we
if
do
it
that
is
then?
less than 364 days, then we return
Well,
false or something.
Do we have to cast last commit as a date type or as a number?
Well, we can assume that get last commit date of user will give us it back in the right form. Actually, let's fix that first. So you see how we've got this red thing? I'll create that method. Takes a user and it returns a date. What's the right type in TypeScript? There we go, a date. And we could have a date, or it could be like the day's old.
Oh, that's nice.
But we can work that out. We can work that out quite easily anyway, can't we?
Days old would probably be easier because that would do the calculation already.
Okay, so we could say get age of last commit by user, something like that.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Because it's really the age of commit that we're worried about.
Refactor, rename, get age of last commit by. We actually don't really need to say user because we're taking user as a parameter. And then it's not going to be a date anymore, it's going to be a number. Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
So this
I
is
assume so.
days since last commit is what we get out of that.
And then you want to calculate, you want to compare, is it more or less than 364 days?
So which is interesting. If it's days since last commit is greater than or equal to 365, I think was what we said,
Yeah.
Then
then
it's
what do we want to
yes,
do?
we want to retire it.
So
Oh,
we'll do
right.
GitHub dot.
Retire.
Well, maybe we.
Oh, actually, just
Yeah.
move. We're just removing it. We're just moving it.
I want to keep the operations that we do on the GitHub API quite simple. We could always
Yeah.
factor out our own functions here. So, but basically, we want to. What do we want to do? We've got this function already on here called add user to team.
Yes.
So we could use that. User comma team. Wait, alumni team. So let's add that type. Add that to our interface. Oops.
Do you need a slash, a space after the slash? Oh, okay. There you go.
Why is it doing that? Oh, this is my in unfamiliarity with keyboard shortcuts in IntelliJ.
Oh, I
There
think
we
it's
go.
yeah.
All right. And so now it's me navigating and you driving, Kate. You ready?
I'm not sure because I'm not seeing what the typing on my, let me share my screen that you just see what I see, because I don't think I'm seeing the right thing.
Oh no, you haven't got everything yet, have you? Can you close this file and
No.
reopen it, maybe? Yeah, because we've been doing more stuff since.
Yes, I
Since
heard
what
you
you see.
speak and then I'm waiting for it and it's like slowly lagging behind. And now to find, I hate this. Zoom.
By the way, we're sort of unfamiliar on timing now, aren't we? We've actually been. Where are we? We've been on for an hour and a bit. We're almost at time for a retro,
Yes,
aren't
we
we?
are. We are. Just about. Yeah. Should we do a commit? I mean,
Yeah, I
run a
can do
test
one.
and-
I'd love to run the test and see what they do.
Run the test and yeah.
I think we're going to
Can
get a
you
bunch
do
of
it, Blaise,
methods not
because
implemented.
mine is asking to download again, and I think it would just be easier if you do it about.
Yeah, sure.
Because
Sorry, what is it Blaise is going to do? I missed that.
Yes. Did you want me?
if he can do the driving, because mine is asking again, because I
Okay.
closed it, it's asking again to download. And
Okay. Can you see what we're doing, Kate? Do I need to share my screen?
no, yes.
Okay,
that
if I
is
share
it.
my screen, then you can follow on. We could just have one more round with Blaise driving, and then
Yes.
so. Wait, that's not right. We want to rotate. Rotate for Blaise's driving.
And there should be an else, isn't there?
I'm not sure what else we need
No,
to do
there
yet.
shouldn't need to be, because then it just stays in the committers, the active committers. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the thing is we don't want to add too much logic without running the tests. I'd like to see what the tests do with this, because I think we've got some compilation issues we need to fix.
Yes.
I don't know how to
so.
look at those. Like we get the problems view in
So run the
VS
test.
Code. I think running the tests will really help. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ran the tests, and it says basically, I don't know if you can see the tests up at the top.
I can see there's a big error.
Yeah. It says
An
retire inactive.
argument for GitHub was not provided.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we need to
So we need
define
to
that.
inject. Yeah, we need to. Well, we already have it, Kate, because we're passing this.github around in our tests. So we just need to pass it in to the actual app.
Right. So
This is what we call dependency injection.
Right. Right. I love that.
Dependency injection.
Yeah, it's a very fancy word. And
so we're going
to go ahead.
Pass the dependency in. Sorry, Blaise.
No, tell me what to do. Go ahead.
Well,
So
Kate is the
go
navigator.
to the move inactive contributors one, or is it in which one? The retire inactive contributors. And there, is that right, Matt? And then add it there.
Yeah, on line 81.
GitHub.
If you of the steps, if you pass in this .github.
So function is empty.
So here I want
on
to put
line
in
80. Exactly. No, little g is right.
No, the small
like
letter.
what we're using on, like we're using on, say, line 65. Great. Okay. Well, let's try running the test again. So do we still get a compilation error?
Ah, but this one is different.
I'm
Let's
not
see.
seeing you at the same terminal as you. I wonder if we got a shared. Yeah, there we go. All right. So what's it saying now? GitHub.get age of last commit by is not a function. Now, Blaise, we could get a clue here.
Yes.
You wouldn't have spotted this, Kate. Can I just interject with something? Do you
We
see
didn't
how
define get age of commit by.
No.
Or is that a standard?
We haven't implemented it on our fake GitHub. But we'll see this a bit more clearly, Blaise. Do you see on line 86 how we've taken this world as the first argument? Can you just do that on line 79 and we'll get better compilation errors?
Okay, sure.
So do the same thing on the when the action runs. Oops. Yeah, you just need that. You don't need the other two arguments. These two can go.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, and then let me get rid of this thing here.
Yeah, that's it. So you see now it's going red over this .github. And you see what the error says? The argument of type fake GitHub is not assignable to parameter of type GitHub. Property get age of last commit by is missing in type fake GitHub, but required in type GitHub.
Oh.
So, do you understand what that error means?
I think it.
Go to fake GitHub
and then
add get age of last commit.
Right. In here, right? Oh, I'm sorry. In fake GitHub.
Yes. Yes. And in fact, what you can do to get even better errors, if you go up to where fake GitHub is implemented, Blaise, and when just after it says class fake GitHub, say implements GitHub. Capital G now, because we're talking about type. Yeah.
Or implement.
Right. Implements.
Ah, okay.
GitHub. I think did we spell it with a? I can't remember if it's got a capital H as well or not. No, it's you spelled it correctly.
I typed
but
it
actually
a capital H.
Yeah, either's good. This is correct, but the reason it's not finding it is because we need to export it. So if you run over to the retire-inactive-contributors file and change where it says interface GitHub to say export interface GitHub. Right, and then come back to steps. You should let us now add import statement. Can you see that if you hover it?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
You can press.
So just click on the add import statement.
That's it. It should do it for you, Blaise. You shouldn't need to type it in. Oh yeah, perfect. There we go. All right, and now fake GitHub is complaining because it says class fake GitHub incorrectly implements interface GitHub property get age of last commit by is missing.
Yep, that I expected.
Yeah. Sorry,
So
Kate,
you
back
need
to what
to-
you were doing.
No, go on.
Well,
I
you,
just know that
you were on the right
that
path
is
with
like we're
adding that
using it,
method.
but we've never told it what it means. So we need to tell it what it means, or where to get it, or something.
Yeah.
In here, in fake GitHub. Is this where you want me to do it?
Yes. And in fact, Blaise, I think if you hover over the red on fake GitHub, it will offer you the help to add a stub method.
Okay, class fake
Implement.
GitHub implements GitHub. Okay. Oh no, it's the
If you
same.
do implement all members, I think that'll do it.
Add default export, add export. It doesn't say. Let's see if I click here. Add default export. No, it doesn't say it.
No, try
Implement all
implement all
members.
implement all members.
That
That's
one.
the one you want.
How weird. It doesn't. Oh wait, I'm sorry. You mean if I say it here? If I click on
Yes.
fake GitHub? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
But
Yeah.
when I click on the,
Implement all
you-
members. Click.
it's so strange. It doesn't say. I don't see that in the.
You
add
see what I'm
default-
getting? If you look at the screen share, Blaise,
Let's see. Yeah.
you hover over it.
Ah, is it you doing that?
Yeah, I don't know. Type world fake GitHub. Implement all members. I'm not sure why. Let's see. I'll try that again. I'll click exactly where you are. There. But I don't
Does
get
that not
that
work?
suggestion. Let's try.
Shall I do it?
uh,
Yeah, it's going to add the method for you.
select members to implement dialog.
There you go. That's it. There should only be one.
Yeah, I don't see it on my screen.
Okay, shall I hit it so we can do it?
Yeah, hit it.
Yes.
Yeah, by all means. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. I'm
And
following
it's
you now.
helpfully
We wanna run
assumed.
the-
It's helpfully assumed that the age of the last commit by Greg was 0. Which isn't gonna work very well.
Days ago, number return 0. Oh, I see. Okay, fascinating. So we want to.
If we change
return,
that to
what? 365.
366, I guess. Yeah, 365 would do it, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, run the tests. Run the tests. I think we've got it compiling now. Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow.
So I think though we actually no, it's working. It's totally working because it's not going to move Aslak into the alumni team because it's only hard coded to work for Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant.
This is great.
So next week we can do some refactoring to make it like not
Parameter.
only work for Greg.
We
Yeah.
should do a commit. We should commit.
Yeah.
Why don't you do the commit since you've got all the. Yeah. Okay. Oh.
So what did we do? We started to implement retire inactive contributors function.
And we, yeah, to find the logic for getting the info from GitHub.
Yes.
The interface from GitHub.
We did the interface and we implemented and we implemented the interface for GitHub. In other words, we described it
Yeah.
and then we made it do things so that fake GitHub can then call it. I think that's right.
Yeah, that is totally right. Yes. And isn't it? It's cool, isn't it? So you stand in your actual production function,
Yeah.
kind of, and making these statements about what you want to be able to do with your dependency, and you express that in the interface, and then you go off and implement it in the fake, and then later we'll do another implementation of GitHub that uses the OptiKit API to actually go and call GitHub's API to do the same things. And this function won't need to change. It'll still work.
That's really cool. That is really, really cool.
Remember to run npm run build and check compile JavaScript before commit.
Yes, yeah. We could probably.
Whoops! It looks like it hasn't committed all of these anyway.
Oh, we did the git add, but we haven't done.
I haven't actually pressed commit.
Yeah. And then we can push.
24 warnings. Oh, undefined steps. I don't care about that. So how do we do the build? npm run build.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
Argument for GitHub was not provided. Error. Expected one argument but got one. No.
Oh, because that's not just running the whip. That's running the whole. Is that right?
Source index ts line 4. What's this? Oh, this is where we would run it for GitHub. For real. Huh.
Yes.
Okay, well that's not going to work for now. That's a thing. That's a task for next week. Because this is where we have to create a real GitHub. So we need like a class.
Oh, I'm going to need to leave actually a bit sooner than I expected.
Okay.
But it was awesome today.
Yeah, we didn't get any new people, considering we moved the time around, but then it's first week, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think today was a little bit confusing with QConfess.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether
agree.
it's going to happen or not, actually.
Yeah, and I didn't send round any stuff beforehand and all of that stuff, so... Right, I'll make this commit.
And in all honesty, I'm not sure in terms of retrospective whether this IntelliJ is better than the VS Code, because if the one is lagging and the other one has got different errors, it's pretty much the same, but the getting set up is easier with VS Code. What do you guys think?
That's a good question. I mean, it seems like it's more faithful. We didn't seem to have quite as many issues with like weird characters showing up in the wrong places.
Yeah, I agree. We didn't have that. I think I have a bias towards VS Code because that's what I tend to use, so I'm used to it, and I haven't really got IntelliJ configured to how I like it yet.
Oh, well, that's important. Yeah.
So I feel a bit awkward in IntelliJ at the moment, but I don't want to hold that against IntelliJ.
No,
it did Beach Ball at some point.
It did Beach Ball?
It did, but then maybe that was to do with, do you remember I had to sort of restart the whole session.
Okay.
But then maybe that was to do with...
I think where it really makes a bigger difference... yeah, exactly, on the networking and, yeah. I mean, we were complicating it more than we probably should have. Certainly more than we did with VS Code. I think that where the difference may be more notable is if we're starting to deal with a project that has lots of like different components and modules. That's and what tends to happen with VS Code is that people will tend to customize the extensions that they have. And so it's likely that two developers might have quite different IDE configurations. But it might make sense to give it a try when we've got more solid networking and we're not trying to change quite as many things. But I think that was...
So should we try IntelliJ for another 2 weeks at least, just to have a proper comparison, or do we?
No, I think that would be my take. Would be we should give it a bit more of a fair shot.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I was a bit distracted just now while we were talking because I was trying to make a commit, and it's very bossy about what you're allowed to. It won't let me make a commit if we've got compilation errors, and I find that really annoying. Like, we should be able to make a commit whatever we like, and I'm sure there's a way to override it, but I don't know what that is. So there's this sort of thing of just needing to get to know IntelliJ a bit more before judging it.
Oh yeah, they have a commit and push anyway.
Yeah, I just tried that and it still came up with an error. Look.
Oh, well, maybe you have to do
remove
commit push anyway.
Unused methods on fake GitHub.
Unused? Oh my God, is that?
I know that was our last commit. That was our last commit message, but it said it failed to commit. I don't really know. I think again, like, it's just my incompetence rather than the tool. I'm sure. But it was great to see those two scenarios start passing, wasn't it? And implement that code in the main function.
I really like getting into the actual logic because I like logic. I mean, I might not know the syntax that well, but my logic is perfectly sound, I think. So that to me feels good that we are making progress there.
Yes, I agree. And
I liked the gather town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like it for the ensemble? Would you want to use it again for the ensemble?
No. Definitely with the code. Maybe it's just my internet, but it doesn't get much better in South Africa. Depends on where you live. So definitely too high on the bandwidth for me for the moment.
Yeah, I agree. The Zoom seems to be more efficient for that, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Did anybody make any notes in Miro just now, or did we just talk for the retro?
Yes.
I didn't make notes.
Oh, you did. You're amazing,
keep
Kate.
Trying IntelliJ, and I kept your draw architecture diagram. I don't know if that should still be there.
I still have a card on my desk about that. Yeah.
And then I am adding that I like the going into the logic part. Is there anything else that you guys want to add?
I want to add, I'm conscious that even when it's not my turn to navigate, I'm talking, and it's because I'm sort of scared that the other of you two is feeling lost, and I feel like that's awkward, so I want to kind of compensate for it. But I'm worried that I wish I could do a better job of keeping us kind of the bigger picture. Yeah.
Yeah, part of the challenge is that neither one of us are that familiar with TypeScript.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the mechanics of it, but we could come up with a protocol, like something like, we need to ask, or somehow, like,
I'd like to find a way for the default be that you two, when one of you two is navigating, that you really try and navigate, but that you don't at any point feel like embarrassed or ashamed that you're stuck. You ask for help before you get to that point, but also that I don't end up kind of rescuing you unnecessarily and being, not giving you the chance to figure out how to navigate. Do you know what I mean? I just like to create that space because I'm not sure my timing's right there. I think sometimes I'm jumping in and rescuing too impatiently.
Yeah, I can think of a few ways. one might be, and I'm going to have to jump off in a moment, but I think one might be something like if you feel like if a navigator, as navigator, when I feel stuck, I can summarize my current state and then ask the audience for input.
Yeah.
Yes, that is good. Something that I've been thinking about is kind of like we all have different skills and different expertise. And when it is an awkward situation where it's very technical, like on the syntax, then let the person, rather than go with a default rotation,
Right.
let the person strong on that do that. Or like me, just say this is the logic, and then somebody else does the typing, because I think it's more about including everybody rather than rotating around the clock. That's an option. I don't know.
Yeah, we could even try abandoning the clock and do more task-based rotation. So we agree a small goal,
That's nice.
and then settle on who's the best driver and navigator for that, and then stick with that at least for a period of time. We could still work in a time box, but we could vary the time boxes. That's an
Depending on the
experiment I'd like
task.
to try.
I would like that too, like goal-based. Like
Yeah.
we don't finish it on the time, we finish it on the task.
Right.
And we just make sure that it's small tasks.
Right. And that way people don't feel like they were almost ready and then they got interrupted or...
Yeah. Because I think the time probably works really well when it's roughly equal, like everybody's roughly as good as each other and understands the same things as each other, and then it's easy to rotate people in and out. It's quite fluid. But when there is that difference, it's probably nice to like keep a bit more stability between tasks, and we just have to obviously be conscious that we don't end up having the same people driving all the time or whatever. Yeah. Always try and stretch each other.
Yeah, for me, the timer is useful because it teaches you the discipline of rotating that somebody doesn't. But I think we've done that enough so that we can move on to something else. And if we see that it becomes like one person keeps typing again, then we go back to the timer and say, like, we practice timing again. But I would like to try that. So I'll make a note on the
I did put something on there, rotate on tasks rather than time.
Ah, okay. Yes. Perfect.
I'm going to sign off. Cheers, everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Blaise. Well, I think we're all done, aren't we? Thanks, both of you. See you next time.
See you tomorrow.
Yes. The cucumber space. Cheers, Kate.
It's a whole cucumber week. Bye.